Hey, it's Dr. Karen Kan-G. Welcome to the Spiritual Medicine Digest for the week of November 10th, 2025. And today we are going to be talking about the emotional realm, the emotional body, specifically trauma, and how to know if perhaps you have some that you didn't know you had. Now, I know trauma release and trauma therapy is very popular. In fact, sometimes it's so like in our faces that we're like, can we stop talking about trauma right now? However, the last several years have reactivated some of our childhood traumas because of some of us having experiences of being told to shut up, to stop talking, to not say our truth, to be obedient, to be compliant, and all these kinds of things. And that can reactivate some traumas or create new ones or amplify, traumas over and over again if we don't become aware of these patterns. But here's the really cool thing is there's a tip here. If you feel triggered about anything at all, it could be what you see on the news with politics, it could be with your family of origin, it could be with your spouse or children or boss or friend, anything at all. There is likelihood a trauma pattern underneath it. And you're like, oh my gosh, that would be like so much work. Yeah, not necessarily. Because a lot of these are nestled within each other. And when we can address one layer, oftentimes it's like a house of cards that kind of all fall down. Now, I'll give you an example. So say, this is hypothetical. So say, I make a great meal and invite my friends over and nobody shows up. That hasn't happened. But anyway, let's just say that happens, all right? Say that happened. Nobody shows up, one after another. They give an excuse, can't come. I feel sick, can't come. I got a lot of work to do, can't come, And I've made this meal. It's delicious. I spent so much energy and effort, right? And I get triggered. Now, spiritual bypassing would have me go, Karen, you don't feel triggered. Don't take anything personally. Remember the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personally, right? And then what would happen? I would stuff that trigger down and go, oh, that's right. Yes, be more spiritual, Karen. Be more spiritual, Karen. Like, people have stuff, right? It's not personal. Yeah, well, guess what? That doesn't really work because it comes out another way and we get triggered again and again and again. So the best thing to do is when we are triggered is to actually acknowledge that we're triggered and not guilt ourselves or shame ourselves for being triggered. It's okay to take something personally, especially if you're not planning to take it personally for like years, So it's like this awareness of like, ouch, that hurt. So instead of pressing it down and then relegating it to our shadows, disowning this feeling of hurt, we go, oh, that hurt. Okay, there's something here. So instead of pushing it away and spiritually bypassing and coaching yourself, it's okay to stop feeling this way. Don't take it personally. Instead of that, we go, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm actually triggered here. What is that about? Right? And get curious. We can start getting curious about that. Okay, so come back to our hypothetical situation. So nobody shows up. I made this meal. I'm sitting there all alone. Well, maybe me, my husband, and the dog. Sitting all alone, right? Eating this humongous meal that nobody came to. So what are the messages that are instinctively coming through that are probably carbon copies of some messages that I had in childhood? That's why it's triggering me. So it could be a pattern of I'm not good enough. Or how about this? I'm not important enough. Ooh, that's a common one among us sensitive souls. I'm not important enough for people to set aside time. Or I'm not worthy enough for them to make me a priority. Or it could be thoughts of, well, maybe they don't really love me anyway, and they just don't want to tell me. Like, we can go down all sorts of roads, right? But the point is, it's less about the content and more about the process. So being willing to go, oh, I'm triggered. well, isn't that interesting, right? And then exploring, what is this trigger about? And then being like a sleuth or detective to figure out, where is this pattern played out in my younger years? And that is very fruitful. That is rich with insight. And you will often, once you get that insight, you kind of approach that wounded inner child, if you will, with compassion. The adult you, the higher self you, can actually speak to the inner child wounded self. Not to poo-poo it, not to say, well, pick yourselves up by the bootstraps and just stop feeling bad, right? Not that. It's more like hugging the 3-year-old and going, oh, yeah, that hurts. I'm sorry that hurts. You know? And then really cognitizing, what did I make it mean? Which then makes me feel hurt, right? Did I make it mean that I wasn't important? Did I make it mean that they don't love me? Do I make it mean that I don't deserve to be respected? And it could very well be a lesson from the universe to go, well, you know what? This is the 5th time this has happened to you. So perhaps you either need to make very clear boundaries. Hey, if you're not going to show up or you can't show up for whatever reason, I need 48 hours advance notice. Because that's what works for me. Anything less than that does not work for me. Just letting you know now, right? Like, to be able to say that with clarity, without resentment, without, just to be, this is the boundary. Sometimes the reason is like, because I got to shop for food, I got to get the right number of whatever, like there's some practical reasons that sometimes people don't think about. Sometimes I don't think about it. But if somebody tells me they need this boundary, I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Right? So they can respect it. I can respect it. Boundaries. So sometimes it is that lesson that we need to learn healthy boundaries to show ourselves love. Show ourselves more love and respect. And of course, the other option, of course, is if it's someone who you have said, this is my boundary, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, and they continue to cross those boundaries over and over again. Well, if you allow them to, you are teaching them how to treat you. So, I get it. The first time, oops, second time, third time, no, not doing this again. Right. So you just don't invite them. Right, in this scenario, you don't invite them because chances are they're going to cancel last minute. And it's funny because I did have this is years ago, a patient of mine. He would call and he would make an appointment, and I'd say to my nurse, I said, he often cancels, so keep that spot open just in case somebody else needs it. Right? Sure enough, 24, 48 hours. Oh, I got to cancel that. I'm traveling somewhere. Sorry. Right? And he's a friend of mine, of course. So loosey-goosey boundaries here. And then, happened a couple times. And I'm like, okay. So I finally talked to him. I said, you're my friend. I love you. And this does not work for me. Okay. Because sometimes we have a waiting list of people. Sometimes we don't. But then we have that time blocked out for you. You need to let us know at least 48 hours in advance. Otherwise, you pay for that appointment. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds reasonable. And he never did that again to us. Right? So, we get to learn, we get to evolve, we get to experience different things. We get to experiment sometimes with trialing this and trialing that. But the cool thing is anytime we get triggered, that is the doorway in to enlightenment. That is the doorway in to yourself, for you to love yourself more, for you to explore what is going on, for you to heal inner child stuff. And we all have them. If somebody says, I don't have any, I'd be like, spiritual bypass. So a great resource is Robert Augustus Masters' books, Bring Your Shadow into the Light. He has some other books as well on the shadow, some really, really great stuff there. And I hope this is helpful. Like, one of the things I want to do today for the TOLPAKAN Healing Activation is just help us become willing to even see these patterns. wounds, to really hold that space for the inner child. So if you would like to do this activation with me, we'll call it, the inner child healing activation. You can close your eyes, or if it's not safe for you to do so, you can keep your eyes open. If you start feeling into the body, I like to rub my hands just to feel energy in the hands, and then just notice it. Focus, feel, and flow on the energy, the flow, the vibration, the pulsing, whatever you feel in the body, it's all good. Be in the body. That's how healings and activations work the best. And just be aware of what it is that's feeling in your body. I will go ahead and connect us all to the 0 point field. If you'd like, you can put your hand over your heart and over your dantian, which is like right above your pubic bone. There's like a space there in your belly. You can put your hands there. And just focus on those areas. Focus on any energy or movement you feel in the body. I'll do the TOLPAKAN healing directives. I now command anything preventing us from seeing our triggers as potential traumas, and anything preventing us from fully diving in, accepting, loving, and exploring with curiosity our shadow sides, our inner child wounds, be healed and resolved in the highest and best way, all directions of time, with speed, ease, and grace. I now command anything that prevents us from fully loving our inner children, past, present, future, be healed now, with ease, speed, and grace in the highest, best way in all timelines where we exist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you can relax your hands, take a deep breath in and out to just anchor that in. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. Let me know in the comments how that felt for you. There is a lot of inner child work that can be done with just noticing our triggers. Of course, there's the TOLPAKAN healing method as well. Sometimes we can just flip those themes, those old themes are just ready for just transmuting and flipping to its polar opposite. We do have a protocol for that in TOLPAKAN level 1, just so you know. This can be a really fun journey. So let's all together treat our triggers as a doorway to further enlightenment and to further knowing our true selves. I hope you've enjoyed this. Would love to hear your comments below, and we'll see you in the Light Medicine community. Link below. Much love. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you resonate with this video, would love for you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and perhaps share it with someone that you love. In the meantime, would love to connect with you more deeply in my Light Medicine community. It's a private community that is free to join, and that's where us sensitive souls get together. We learn, we support each other, we share stories, and it's a really beautiful, safe space to be in. So I'd love to connect with you there. I'll put the link below this video as well as this week's offerings. All right, we'll see you there. Much love.